Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play The Ball. Making our way through the survival maps, we're done Attica and Tunisia, which leads us to the third one, Tepidin. You'd better get familiar with spinning blades and bombs and fire. So many traps depend on the ball, and they will try to take from you what's rightfully theirs. Tepidin, according to the translation to English, means a little bit. Small, a little. Now, Tepidin is actually my favorite survival map out of the main 5. Simply because it has the most amount of variety to it. Because we start out with actually being able to use the mines ability. Putting it into the mine cage and bringing that out. It's not really the best thing to use, but it's pretty good, because the best thing to use is actually the nail destruction of doom, which, in terms of the survival maps, it doesn't actually hurt us, which is a benefit. Tepidin is also a little bit smaller than, or appears smaller, I guess, than Tunisia, because Tunisia feels large in comparison. But Tepidin's pretty great for a number of reasons. One, it has a lot of ways in order to take down enemies. The mines, the nails, and also electricity, which is not really the best way of taking down enemies, because they have to be in the way of the electricity arc in order to get rid of it. Spinning blades are also another thing. Now, going into round 3, we might as well continue on with our discussion of the ball. Last time I talked about combat, and I made a point about how combat parallels the environment in some ways in terms of enemy types and what shows up. It makes you wonder what is beyond the next level. So, let's start talking about the graphics, the environment, which also includes like atmosphere, enemy design, and a little bit of the music. The graphics are honestly my favorite point of this game, which is probably why I matched it up with Tepidin being my favorite survival map. For this game was released in 2010, I remind you, and in terms of its design and looking great, it looks great. And it's not just the fact that it's extremely like powered and looks cool that way, but the fact that it's polished. And here's the reason why I like Tepidin. You see in the bottom right corner that we have a countdown now. The ball has been taken from us by the magnets. The magnets just kind of pop up randomly. I don't think there's really any set time. And so we have 30 seconds without the ball. We have to use alternate methods in order to kill the enemies. Which is a really good thing. It actually strengthens my argument about creativity with killing enemies in terms of combat. But I already talked about combat, let's talk about graphics. These are certainly not the strongest graphics around, and because of its history as being an Unreal Engine mod for Unreal Engine 3, it certainly shows what can be done with an engine, and making things really cool and really polished if you have enough time to work on it. This game is extremely stylish, and has been got a lot of praise for its original setting. Not a lot of places take place underground, and especially with an Aztec setting. But some reviews are not able to decide whether the civilization is Aztec or Mayan, and even the game gets confused as well. I kind of go based off of the Aztec history background, and also Nahuatl, because that's also Aztec. A little bit. But you can kind of tell that a great deal of time was put into the sights, the sounds, and really the game just becomes a feast for the eyes and a sightseeing tour. That's kind of what I mean by you really want to see what comes next in the game. All of the small touches help with this. Lighting is superb in order to make everything great, and there we go. That's an iffy situation in order to be in. Luckily, the ball was near us and not around a corner, because then we probably would have been screwed. But yeah, the lighting, the small touches, seeing your footprints, even though the footprints are not really well done. But the walls, the lights, and the sounds, they make the world alive and capture your attention. The main element, and it's really the main element that keeps the player's attention, in my opinion, as you may be inclined to see what comes next. In order to see what comes next, a lot of the levels at the start, Oztok, Hueca, Kahua 1, they all use cinematics after the narrative sections in order to do sweeping views of the level or a scene that is coming up, to show not only what is coming up next and what you're going to be able to explore in the future, but also the scale and the size of places, and that is key, really. A lot of, like, the maps are huge, and you're able to explore so much of it. There's so much square mileage that you're able to explore. Maybe I'm overdoing that statement, but it's the areas are big, and they're also filled with so much atmosphere. People use such words as eerie or peaceful, edgy, natural, and really creepy once the enemies show up, because you're wondering what is going to pop around the next corner. That kind of horror kind of sense. I still don't really think this game is a horror game, though, other than, like, really a couple of times. Otherwise, you just have jump scares, and, well, that's kind of horror, I guess. And there's another skull. Let's gather up some enemies, because skulls are helpful once you start gathering up enemies, and then you're able to get rid of a ton of them. The music also helps get the environment the correct kind of feel to them. The music is subtle. It sets the tone for the environments, and a lot of people like see it as being very meditative. There's not a lot of things that really like make you tense or doesn't feel like wrong in terms of the setting. They all fit fairly well, along with the sound effects of goring and crushing enemies with the ball. Music is not really special in a way that you'll remember a specific track, though, but you will kind of occasionally be humming it if you've listened to the music long enough. It allows exploring the levels to be immersive. Like, immersion is a key thing in order to make the environment atmosphere work, is if you feel like you're actually there. It doesn't feel intrusive either, so you're not broken by the music, and it serves as a companion piece in order to make the level whole. Now, let's talk about enemies, because enemies in this game I can start gushing over, because they are so incredibly detailed. There's not a lot of enemy types, but man, do they make them so detailed that I just love them. Each has their own unique flair. The detail is at that edge where it's not over the edge, like in other games where it's like you really needed to stop drawing like 4 hours ago, but it has enough detail in it that it looks so great. I love going up to each enemy when I can and they're not trying to tear me limb from limb, to admire the level of work that was put into each enemy. And this also includes other characters, specifically the Ancient King. He's really cool to look at. I may not understand why they look like that, or what they are, or they were. Specifically the Tlaloc, because they are the ones that are, like, really the most confused about in terms of enemy. But that doesn't stop me from loving what they look like, because I will get up close to their face to see every single detail to them. It's great. But yeah, I may not understand why they look like that, what they are, or what they were, and I'll discuss that area of thought in the next section of my thought process for this game. But it does not stop me from loving their appearance. Each enemy and character is designed in this game, and each design could be put really on a pedestal for the amount of craftsmanship that goes into them. Lastly, on the topic of enemies, I would like to talk about the small subject about the blood and violence. I kind of neglected to mention that this game is rated M for mature. Yeah, great, 31 episodes in, and I'm talking about ratings. Yeah, this game is rated M for mature because of the gore and the violence and the blood, as you can see here. But I have to say that the gore and violence are done fairly well. Each enemy is crushed very well. It's presented in cool ways. The ball crushing the enemies results in mummy parts being sprayed across the room in little giblets. You can see torsos, legs, feet, heads, organs that are still around. And you can see them across the room before they disintegrate into nothingness. Each part is honestly feels, and I really hope was taken into equal consideration when making the game as a whole in terms of graphics. It's another example of the level of detail that the developers went to, and it's a wonderful detail to actually see, and I really appreciate it. It makes the game so much better because of it, and I kind of seen what this game looks like without the graphics that it is right now, and something just is taken away from it. And by that I mean I've seen footage of the Ouya version of this game. Not only is this game available for Windows PC, but it's also available on the cloud using the OnLive system, which is surprising, to say the least. There's no console releases for this game, other than the Ouya, because the ball was released as a Ouya launch title, and as you can see, you can kind of cheat the magnets by holding onto the ball where none of the magnets are. But when I heard the news that the ball was going to be an Ouya title, I kind of was rather intrigued and excited to see the graphical limits of the Ouya. Because this game would be a perfect example of an independent title for the Ouya to have, and would just show what it could do. Unfortunately, I was incredibly disappointed once I saw some footage for it, and, well, you can look that up on your own, because I don't have an Ouya, so you can look that up on your own. It's really sad, though. Like, the game is still the same, but without the environment and the graphics, it just kind of looks really sad. Really sad indeed. So what I'm saying is pretty much get the Windows version. Get this version, it's on Steam for $10. Or you can wait for a sale and it'll come on, like, I got this game when it was $5. I got my money's worth out of it, but if you're absolutely not sure, this game can get as low as $1.50 on a daily deal on Steam. Even at that price, if you're at all intrigued by this game, either by what I've seen or what you've seen from it otherwise, get it for $1.50. You're not missing anything. Another thing about this is, as we're halfway through the final wave, is there's not really a place to camp out and take away, like, and make things easier for yourself in the final wave. But of course, there's the nail enabler, I guess I should say, for making the nails appear, which helps get rid of the enemies. But you're going to be doing a lot more movement in this one. Come on, guys, I'm corralling you. Let's do it. And that didn't really work, because apparently it only works on a level field. It doesn't go down ramps. And what timing. Only got like a couple more enemies, and the magnet has to show up. Well, down in the fire he goes, and that will be it for Tepidin. See you next time, everyone, as we go into the 4th survival map. See you next time, everyone.